Hey friends, how's it going? I wanted to talk a little bit today about Horary Astrology, or Prashna as it is known in India, in the East. In the West we call it Horary Astrology, but it's the exact same thing. And that's one thing that is really cool when you see two seemingly totally different cultures, the East and the West. Uh, Things seem very, very different, but yet they both still have this amazing tradition of using astrology of the present moment to find out the answers to questions. Um, Orary comes from the word aura and the same Latin roots of hour. So it's the astrology of the hour, in a sense, the astrology of the moment. Prajna means a question. So in India, you would go and find an astrologer if you were lucky under a tree somewhere in the morning, and you'd ask him a question. And that was called Deva Prajna, consulting the gods, questioning the devas, the gods. And the astrologer asks the gods on your behalf for the answer to the question and then gives it to you. But this is a really, really cool type of astrology. All right, so when I explain it like that, it's got a very like intuitive, mystical, even romantic type of feeling, which it does. But what I actually want to talk about in this video is the scientific appeal that Prajna or horary astrology has. It has a great scientific appeal. What do I mean by that? It's just objective. It's it's the type of astrology that gives you a yes or no answer, or it can tell you that the answer can't be known at this time. But that's actually really appealing because more so in the West, but even in India too, you have a lot of, or just in general right now, you have a lot more of the psychology astrology, the psychological astrology. You go on astro.com, you get your profile, you get to learn about aspects and how it affects your consciousness and how you might behave a little bit differently or think about things differently. And that is all well and good, and that's great. But that stuff's a little bit harder to prove. There's a little bit more gray areas around that, and I get kind of peeved and irked personally at the fact that people in the West think astrology is just this very like wishy-washy, vague stuff that can't really help you. My whole goal in the beginning, 5 years ago when I was starting out, or even before that, I was telling people, yeah, I want to do astrology that doesn't just sound like it's something that you read in the back of a cosmopolitan magazine. Or what I'm getting at is it doesn't just appeal to your vanity. I wanted to do videos for where, the mailman can read the horoscope, a construction worker, a politician, a nurse, a babysitter, and a 13-year-old girl who's crying about her boyfriend. They can all read it and get good advice, not just the 13-year-old girl crying about her boyfriend, which is what, a lot of, I'm sorry, but that's what a lot of it just seems like it's oriented towards. Um, the stuff you read in the back of a cosmopolitan, that is, or a lot of the blogs you read. A lot of the stuff that people tag me in posts on Facebook and things like that about someone writing a post, and I'm not saying anything in particular about anyone, but it just seems like there's a lot of that stuff can kind of like apply to anyone or be very vague, and that's just not what I'm into. So if you're not into that either, do study horary astrology or prajna, learn it in a really classical traditional sense, learn it from someone who knows it like I did, and then you're just going to start getting yes or no answers to questions, and you don't have to, you can leave off all the speculation, the emotion. For example, where is my lost wallet? I've answered that question for myself with Prajna with nothing else could help me. You know what I mean? When I looked everywhere in the house, everywhere I couldn't find my wallet, I had to sit down, had to tell my friend, no, you got to go. Sorry, I got to find my wallet. And I didn't tell him I was going to cast a chart, but I had to cast a chart because nothing else could find it. But that's how objective it is. I'll link a little video in this below of a amazing video about William Lilly and horary astrology. That's really well done, and in that video, a woman goes on to explain how a man named William Lilly in a few centuries ago in England was actually more famous and more influential than even the king because of how great he was at doing horary astrology. He he pretty much, I mean, he predicted all kinds of things, and it was objectively shown. And they even have the chart still. And so they there was something about a king's health. I might have to go back and edit this and find out what it was. But there was something with the king and his health, and William Lilly predicted it exactly the way it was, and that he was going to die in a certain time, and then he died. And if you go and follow the principles as this doctor explains in her video, you will come to that same conclusion. So it's scientifically repeatable. Um, in a nutshell, that's what I'm trying to get at. Is Prashna, Horary Astrology, is scientifically repeatable. It gives you about 75% accuracy using just the techniques that you can read about in a book or get taught by someone. That's about as good as you can ask or expect any technique to deliver. Aside from that, if you're a good astrologer and you're well-rounded in your techniques, then you can usually use your intuition, use other techniques, do something to bump that even higher than 75%. Maybe never 100%, but you can get pretty high. Astrologers never claim to be perfect, so don't think that. And really, it's just like any other advisory job. If you go to a financial advisor, are they going to be 100% accurate all the time? No. We can do a little bit better than them because we have a lot of amazing techniques. We have the planets, we have this whole grand system that we can use, but still, we can never be perfect.